Theodore here, or Theo, who's been trying to hump me a little bit, has been nipping people who've come into the door, as we talked about in the other video. So, and we're not going to worry about that right now. So basically, he thinks, I think he doesn't have any rules, he doesn't have any structure, and he gets rewarded for whatever he wants to do. So I think he thinks that his job, he's an authority figure in the house in his mind, and he thinks his job is to be in charge. He's the bouncer. So we're going to teach him that that's not his job. We have one of the children's going to play the part of a guest knocking at the door, and I'm going to demonstrate how we answer the door. Normally, he'd be a little bit more exuberant than that, right?
Yes.
So he stopped breathing, he's more serious. Now, what I'm going to do is use that third consequence to move him away. Now, you might want to put a piece of tape here, about whatever the distance is. And you keep on marching at him anytime he crosses that line. Now, normally we don't have the chairs here, but it's a very open room and it makes it easier to have a little bit of a bump. So now he's behind the line. I'm going to take one step back, and I keep my hips pointed towards. So wherever he goes, my hips are pointed at him. The other dog is on the couch, which is not allowed, but that's okay for now. So once he's stationary, I take a step back, and I pause a quarter of a second. If he stays in place, I take another step back. I pause a quarter of a second. Now, I've told the daughter to knock multiple times. We want to make it the worst case, the hardest scenario possible. So when I step back, just 2 steps only, pause. 2 steps only, pause. Now I'm going to simulate the deadbolt. See how he kind of stopped breathing so heavy and he wasn't paying attention, because that's a sound that means the door is about to open. Now, next step is like, I can hiss, but I don't want it to hiss for each time that I do this. So by him hissing a lot, I just kind of curtail the hissing. So I got him turned around. He's coming back around. Anytime they got to sit, I want to take a step backward immediately. That's my way of saying that because you sat down, I like that. Can you close the screen door? All right, so now when I open it just a crack. And he's kind of on the line. Once he crosses the line, you want to be very sudden and you're rushing towards him. Now he's over there, so I'm not worried because he can't get there. That's why we set up the chairs here. Next step is to open the door all the way. I usually step in front of the door. The dog's here. I'm kind of saying that if you want to get to them, you got to go through me. He's going to try to get through there, but the door provides some protection. So I'm going to step back, and now I'm going to jiggle the dead bait. All right, Theodore, can you come in and stay behind me, right here? So now somebody's in. Now I want to go check it out and see who it is. Actually, he's doing really good. Now, when the guest comes in, the guest should stay behind you. Again, in your authority, your hips are pointed at the dog. Now, if I want to talk with the guest, I can look at the guest with my eyes, but I'm keeping everything below pointed at the dog. If I want to embrace the guest, I'm going to keep my eyes here and turn and give the guest a hug with my torso. But either my head or my torso is going to continue facing the dog the whole time. Now, when you're doing this, the first several times you're doing it, you're answering the door with your butt facing the door, which is probably not the most polite way to go about it. That's why, for this sort of scenario, what I recommend is having a family member call or text us ahead of time, and they play the part of the guest. Pan down and look at that. Normally, you do not have that behavior when it comes to the door.
No.
So, let's come back to me.
Okay.
So again, what we're doing, let's go ahead and close the door, sweetheart. You can stay inside. Thank you for your help. That was awesome. What's her name? Mrs. No, your teacher's name?
Miss Hirschberg.
No, the other one.
The one you don't like.
Miss Ramona. If this is Mrs. Ramona's house, she would be in trouble. But basically what we did was we recreated the scenario so that we can help our dog practice whatever the behavior is that we want. In this case, you're not allowed to be at the door when the human answers it. If I answer the door when the dog's here in front of me, then the dog looks at me as assisting them as opposed to the other way around. Now, since you guys own your home, what I would do is get some painter's tape and run it along this line and about here and then here, all the way. And then basically, as we're doing it, you know exactly where the line is. Now, after a while, we should be able to take this away. or this one. Sometimes different order for different dogs. But we want to use the barricade initially, but eventually I would like to have no barricades and the dog stays behind the line with nothing but air between them and the door because they've been taught that that's the behavior that's expected and they're controlling themselves. That self-restraint helps the dog develop more discipline, and then the dog sees what I talked about earlier off camera. Dogs judge us based on what they see us do, not what we do. If you want to tell me that you're in charge of security, you're going to have to prove to me by showing me over and over again that you can handle the door and then my services are no longer needed. Once that's the case, we're going to get that sort of behavior when he goes and lays down on the floor and says, this isn't my job anymore, my humans are going to do this. So this is what I like to call the door exercise, or how you can teach your dog how to behave while you go through the process of opening up the door.